Okay, good morning. I I wasn't sure how familiar you were with how Desmos activities, teacher activities work. So I wanted to give you a quick tour here of how to set this up for your class and what you can do. Um, you'll notice in the lesson plan that there's a link to go to the page for you, and that's what this looks like. This is a limits introduction activity that the students designed. For you to use it, you can see the student preview here, so you can click on this and move through and see what the students will do. But to use it with your students, you're going to want to create a class code. So you'll set up your own account. Go here. You'll hit create class code, and there is a class code that gets created right here. If you have more than one pre-cal class, create two class codes that each have a different one. So you're not looking at a bunch of students all at once. So a different class code for each class is what you're going to want. So say this is your first period class. You then just click View Dashboard. And it's loading. My internet is very, very slow. And this is what it'll look like for your students. So for your students, they just need to know, sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once here because I'm going to try to log in as a student on a different computer so you can see what that looks like. They just go to student.desmos.com, and this is how it works for every activity you do. So I'm typing in student.desmos.com on my iPad over here, except I can't spell correctly, so it didn't work. Student.desmos.com. Okay, and when I get to student.desmos.com, it simply says, welcome, enter your class code. And I type in Y8 4Z2. And then I press join, and it has me join the class then. As a student, when they get there, they can either sign in or just continue without signing in. I would tell students to just continue without signing in. And then they'll enter in their name before they start. You can let them make up whatever names they want or tell them to use their first name. If you need to know who is who, make very clear to them that you want them to use their actual name. It won't be put up for everybody else to see unless you choose to, but for you to know, if you've got 20 students in a classroom, you kind of need to know who's who, so have them use their first name or whatever name that you typically refer to them as. Otherwise, they come up with all sorts of crazy things. So you'll kind of see in the background here, my name just showed up. So once all your students are in, you can see that their names are popping up down here. You could write that code on the board. They're good to go. And here we go. So this is what your dashboard looks like. This is the summary. This is the teacher dashboard. So I can kind of see on each page what's going on. So as students are responding to things, I will get, these will pop up here. So I just put something in on mine, and I'm moving on to the next page. Allison responded test. So you'll see them as they pop up here. You'll know what people are doing. And you can jump to any page and see who's there and what they've done. Summary overall, we'll have the list of students all down here, and it will show you a dot if they have completed what's on that page. So you'll be able to monitor where students are in this thing at all times. Under student, I can look at particular students and see exactly where they are and what they're doing on that page. So for some reason, you only have one student right now, so it's me that you're getting to see. And mine is sitting on page, I'm actually sitting right there. It says Allison's on page 1. You can see exactly where I am and what I'm struggling with. If I happen to have been there for a long time, you can go check it out. If you're wanting to show this up on your projector, which you might want to do for some reason, hey, let's look at some of this together, you can hit anonymize, and that means student names won't show up. So if I hit that, you won't, when you go here now, it made up a name for me instead of saying who I am. When I undo this and I go back there, it has my actual name. So usually when they make up the names, they use all sorts of famous mathematicians. So if by chance you're wanting to show something that somebody wrote, or hey, look at this cool graph that somebody did, because some of the ones later on, they can create graphs. Let's talk about it without having to call out whose it is. You can anonymize that first. the pause. If you are, looking along here and you see everybody's moving around all along, and you know the first place where right about here is where they are done talking about this language. If you see everybody's there and you wanted to do a quick pause of, okay, let's just summarize what we've seen so far, or I'm here and saying everybody is getting this wrong when I look at what they're doing, all you do is hit pause, and that shuts down everybody's computer. My iPad just went gray over the page that I was on. It says activity paused. They can't do anything. They'll look up and go, what? And you've got their attention. The pacing I haven't used before, but it's really quite easy. If you want to select a screen to start pacing your class, you can select a section of screens where they can't go past that until you've released them to go. So you can try that if you'd like. Our students have built-in places for them to stop, and note things in their write down definitions in their note sheet, and raise your hand for you to check. However, it's up to you at that point. If you get 20 kids with their hands raised and you're trying to run around, you might not want them to actually stop. I don't know. So how you handle that is up to you. But anyway, this is how this particular thing works. I just wanted to make sure you were familiar with that. The other activity, let me go back here. The other activity that we put on there as just an extra one at the end, if there's time, is a polygraph. And this particular polygraph was one that was actually designed for continuity. So you come back and use this again for continuity. But if you, just in case you haven't done a polygraph before, again, we want to create a class code, view the dashboard. I am going to go to student.desmos.com again. Enter in this code, which is 5Q3RT, join, oops. Continue without signing in. I'm entering my name. And it gives me a quick, hey, this is how it works sort of thing. So what generally happens, okay, it's not going to show everything here. Just a second. I'm answering some questions here because it's taking me through a test thing. So just to teach students how to play this game, they have avatars that show up, and they have you pick something you like, and then a computer person is asking yes or no questions. The first question was, is your person wearing a long sleeve shirt? And my choice is yes or no, and I pressed no, and it got rid of everybody with long sleeve shirts. Is your person wearing glasses? My question now, no. Gets rid of all those others. And then they ask another yes or no question. Is your person wearing a striped shirt? No. And it's asking one more question. Is your person waving? Yes. Okay, so they figured out who that is. That quick little thing in 4 questions, we figured out what you picked. So the way it goes from here then is they actually show a series of the graphs that were on that front page. And you select a graph. So within partners, one person will be the questioner, one person will be the graph person. So as long as 2 people are in here at a time, and ideally on the previous task, the Desmos activity, they were working with a partner anyway, so your people should finish in pairs, so that works out great for this. They will go through this, that one person selects a graph, and it's automatically determined here who selects what. Somebody else asks them yes or no questions about that graph. So, and what you're wanting to do here, that so the questions we want them to move towards are limit and behavior asymptotes, things like that, those words that come out. So somebody might select this graph. So they have all these graphs to pick from. They pick any graph they want, and the other person is asking them questions. And all of these graphs are being shown, and they're trying to guess which one is theirs. So they might ask about the parts of the graph. They might ask about the limits as it's approaching, -1 from the left, from the right, those sorts of things. There's lots of similarities here to hopefully push them towards using some of their precise mathematical language. So this was just there as an extension activity if there was time. All right, I've talked enough. Hopefully this is helpful. Let me know if you have questions.